Darkroom procedures, tools, rules, and safety. Let's start with the darkroom tools, the equipment, and the materials you'll find in the darkroom. First off is photo paper. We use variable contrast pearl paper. It's kind of a mix between glossy and matte. You should not open this paper in the regular classroom light or with any lights on in the darkroom. This is special light-sensitive paper only for use in the darkroom. You are responsible for your own envelope, so don't lose it, don't bring it home, and don't open it under the white light. Safe lights. You'll find safe lights on the wall and above in the ceiling in the darkroom. We use amber safe lights. These are safe for use with our photo paper, but not with film. Film is sensitive to all types of light, and you should not be exposing film to any kind of light. These safe lights illuminates from parts of the visible spectrum to which the photographic material in use is nearly or completely insensitive. This makes it possible for us to work in the darkroom without complete darkness. There's a paper cutter located in the darkroom. Make sure you're not cutting paper if somebody's viewing their prints or test strips underneath the viewing enlarger. Instructions for cutting 5x7 pieces of paper are on the board of the paper cutter. You're always going to make sure the long edge is against the ruler of the paper, and you make 2 cuts in your 8x10 sheet of paper to get 2 5x7s and 2 test strips. Darkroom enlargers. We have multiple types of enlargers. Be sure you know how to use the enlarger you're working at. Ask questions if needed. Try to use the same enlarger every time you're working in the darkroom so you become familiar with it. This is more of the types of enlargers that we have in the darkroom. Each of these enlargers has a negative carrier. This is where you put your negative to print. You will sandwich your negative shiny side up in the carrier to print. Each of the negative carriers look different in each of the different types of enlargers, but they all function the same. A print easel is where your paper goes. You keep this easel free of water and chemicals. Use the easel to make nice white borders on your prints. It is double-sided. There's 5x7 and 2 smaller prints on one side. When you flip this over, there's an 8x10 on the back. Enlarger lenses have an aperture, just like the apertures in your cameras. These lenses control the amount of light that is projected through your negative onto your easel. We have multiple kinds of darkroom timers in the darkroom. Just like your enlargers, be sure you know how to use the timer at your station. Ask questions if needed, and become familiar with the station you're working at. These are different variations of darkroom timers that you'll find in our darkroom. Each station in the darkroom has a darkroom toolbox. Each toolbox includes the following: a grain focuser, brushes, blowers, an orange cleaning cloth, mapboard scraps. Some toolboxes also have scissors, Sharpie, pencils, or tape. A grain focuser, or a grain enlarger, is used to help get your image in focus. Try to avoid tipping the focuser upside down. Some of the mirrors inside of these focusers are not secure because they're old. Brushes and blowers are used to clean your negatives. You use these to gently remove dust and fibers from the surface of your negatives. Some toolboxes have a brush, some have a blower, some have a combination of the two, and some might be missing their brush and blower. You can just grab one from another station. The orange cleaning cloths located in your toolboxes are used to clean your negatives. You're going to be sure to rub gently on your negatives and do not get these towels wet. They are not used to wash or dry your hands and should always stay dry. Mapboard scraps are used to make test strips. These can also be used for a technique called dodging and burning, which helps get correct exposure all over your photograph. The chemical sink in the darkroom is the long silver sink against the back wall of the darkroom. All chemicals should be contained to the large wall sink. This is a little bit backwards because usually you would read left to right, but we work in the darkroom from right to left. Step number 1 is developer. This is 1 minute. Step number 2 is stop bath, 30 seconds. Step number 3 is fixer, 4 minutes. Step number 4 is water wash, 5 minutes. Step number 1 is developer. This makes the photo appear. It detects changes in silver salt crystals. Crystals struck by light change to metallic silver. Latent images are now visible. To mix developer in the darkroom, you're going to mix 1 part developer to 2 parts water, so 8 ounces of developer to 16 ounces of water. This is done when setting up the darkroom at the beginning of the day. Step number 2 is stop bath. This stops the development process. The concentrate has a very strong smell. It prevents fixer from going bad too quickly. It's made from acetic acid, and it turns purple when it's exhausted. To fill the stop bath tray, you pour 32 ounces of stop bath straight from the bottle, and you do not dilute it. Step number 3 is fixer. Fixer makes the photo light safe. This is sodium thiosulfate. It dissolves the unexposed silver salt from the emulsion, leaving the metallic silver. At the beginning of the day, you would mix 1 part, or 8 ounces of fixer, and 2 parts, or 16 ounces, of water to fill the tray. You would do the same thing if you're refreshing the fixer because it's exhausted. How do you know the fixer's exhausted? To test for exhaustion, you use 3 drops of hypocheck. If a little white cloud appears, it's exhausted and you should change the fixer. Fixer does stain your clothing and the counters and is generally not great for you, so make sure to use tongs and clean up after any spills. The 4th step is water wash. This cleans the print. You're going to use cool running water in the tray for 5 minutes to clean your print. After you clean your print, you need to hang your print to dry. Your prints have to be completely dry before you bring them out into the classroom. Give your print a little shake and then hang it until the next class period at the very least. Separate prints hanging on the line. Prints that dry touching another may stick permanently. Touch as little of your print to the clip as possible to prevent rust marks, since our clips in the darkroom are metal and they're a little old, so they can sometimes leave rust marks on your print. Let's talk about darkroom safety. This is really important when working in the darkroom. First things first, make sure the walkie-talkie is on before working in the darkroom. This is how you can contact me if you need help with anything, and how you'll be notified if you have a pass to leave or if you need to open the darkroom door for some reason. Turn on the safe lights at the beginning of your work time. Don't work in the dark. Your eyes take some time to adjust, but it's much better than working in the dark. The light switch in our darkroom is located on the right wall of the darkroom. On the right wall, there is also an exhaust fan. This ventilates the darkroom. Make sure this fan is on when you're using the darkroom. This helps to remove airborne chemicals and keeps the room smelling a little less stuffy. There are Tyvek aprons hanging on the safe light on the right side of the darkroom. These Tyvek aprons protect your clothing from accidental chemical stains. You're welcome to use them if you'd like, but you're not required to use them for the sake of our class. Always use tongs. Never put your hands in the chemicals. Sometimes using the tongs can be tricky, but you have to use them to avoid excess chemical exposure. The chemicals smell bad, they taste bad, and they're generally not great for your skin, so you have to use the tongs every single time. Avoid touching your eyes, mouth, and nose. To be safe, avoid touching your eyes, nose, or lips while in the darkroom. This can help prevent accidental chemical exposure. If you do get chemicals in your eyes, you need to immediately open the darkroom door and go to room 131 right next door. It's Mrs. Negus's metals room. Go right away. Don't wait until the end of class. You're going to turn the eye wash on and begin to flush your eyes. Hold your eyes open with your fingers, roll your eyes, flush for a full 15 minutes, and make sure you take out any contacts. If there's an instance where you need to use the eye wash, you need to get my attention right away, and I'll go next door with you to help you make sure that you're completely clean. After using the darkroom, you need to wash your hands. Make sure you use the sinks in the classroom to wash your hands after every single session in the darkroom. There's also a sink in the darkroom if you accidentally touch the chemicals. This helps keep the chemicals off your hands, it prevents accidental exposure, and it also keeps the germs at bay so nobody gets sick from working in close quarters. Some darkroom rules. Be safe. First and foremost, follow all of the rules and safety procedures of using the darkroom. There is a security camera in our darkroom. Should any issues arise, we will be able to review that. The darkroom is a no phone zone. Make sure you leave your phone, your smartwatch, your Fitbit, any electronic device that may emit light needs to be left in the classroom. They're not allowed in the darkroom. This can expose your prints, it can expose your classmates' prints, and it becomes pretty frustrating when you've worked really hard on a print only to have it be exposed by a cell phone light. No food or drink is allowed in the darkroom, and this is no exceptions. There's no eating or drinking in the darkroom because there's chemicals that aren't safe to ingest. Please finish your breakfast, lunch, or snacks before coming to class on your darkroom day. Clean up. Be responsible for your space and clean up. Pick up your space, remove your belongings from the darkroom, and tidy up the whole darkroom before leaving at the end of the hour. Wipe down the sink and take care of any messes you might have accidentally made. Watch your time. Don't be late to your next class. The darkroom door should be open with 5 minutes left of class to make sure that you can check in with me and to make sure that everything in the darkroom is cleaned up and you're on your way to your next class on time.